Alrighty, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is July the 8th. It's a Tuesday today. We had some news yesterday regarding tariffs, kind of midday with Trump speaking, and overall, the market on the higher time frames is still very much intact. We'll talk about some of the levels that we're looking for coming into today. Some nice setups here as well. Before we do that, what's up, everyone? Good morning. What's up, B Roots? What's up, Non Tolly? What's up, everyone? Good morning, Damien, KO. Trading view flip market is bullish candle. Yeah, it's just based off of you can customize that. What's up, JT? Good morning, Daniel, Ryan. Took the loss yesterday, followed my game plan. Exactly. Yeah, yesterday I ended up taking small one on Tesla, Audrey. Good morning, Monty, Robert, Martin, Josh, Fan, Steven, Hartik, Eileen. Good back from your trip. Nice. Telmo, Care. I definitely didn't pronounce that one wrong. What's up, Robert? Annabelle, Darth, Andreas. What's up, Jemize, Jen, Paul, Wayne, Jose, Ashley, Eurytzia. What's up, Yogi, Infinite, Ricardo, Cuba, Smart, Cuta, Shade, Juan, Jatin, T-Bell, Paul, Deuce, Edison. What's up, Deuce, Flying, Wallace, Trap, Keegan, Carlos. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's first talk about the major indices, and then we'll go over my top watches coming into today. So for the major indices, at least on the higher time frame wise, we're actually coming right back into my key level that I mentioned. So this is the level that I talked about earlier into the week, which was our previous level of resistance on here. This is the ES daily chart. This is the exact level that I'd like to see the market hold if we want to see continuation towards the upside. This is the only level of support that we have. If we cannot hold your previous all-time highs, really, I don't have any other levels of support on the daily chart. So for the ES, as you can see, this is the level that I have marked out. It's a pretty big level here, but this is on the daily chart. The daily candle close is what's important here. So you can see the daily push towards the upside, a little bit of a pullback, which was expected right in towards our key level of resistance, now turning into support. What we like to see is if the buyers are going to step in. If the buyers are going to step in, awesome. And we can see continuation back towards the upside, similar to this Nvidia chart. Right, essentially this is what it looks like here as well, right? If the buyers step in right off of your previous all-time highs, we're going to come right back up in towards your all-time high. So we're going to be looking for the reaction that we have off your ES, your 60 to 60 coming to market open. So that's at least on the higher time frames. On the lower time frames now, as you can see, a couple lower wicks here on the 1 hour chart. What we like to see now is if it can maintain this higher low, continue back up in towards our 60 to 90 and reclaim back above and push back towards the upside. We'll see if we can end up gravitating higher today. Let me actually just refine this level here as well. So we kind of refined our level here on the ES. So coming into today, what I'd like to see is now it's going to be the reclaim back above your previous day low. So this is going to be key here. Sorry, your low that we created on Friday. You can see we have multiple touches. If we can reclaim this 60 to 90, we can see this potential continue push back towards the upside on the overall markets. As for today, I am only interested in more downside if we're underneath your previous day low and your previous all-time highs level 60 to 60. As for yesterday on the ES, once we got back underneath your previous day lows later into the session, we end up having this nice push towards the downside. So coming into today, key level that we have marked out 60 to 90, and we also have our 60 to 60 here on the higher time frames. If you look at the ES, similar thesis, the levels that we have marked out is our 619. This is a key level here on the higher time frames. We also have your previous low that we created on Friday, 620 to 50. So For the SPY coming to market open, you can see we're about to open inside the middle of the range. What we like to see now, as I mentioned, is the reclaim back above your 622.50 for a potential continuation back towards the upside. Another scenario that we do have is the push all the way back down in towards our 619, and we could be looking for the higher low off this level here as well. If we want to continue to look for potential short positions, key level is going to be underneath your previous day lows, underneath the 619. Right underneath 619, there's a lot more room towards the downside, but beforehand, I do expect it to be a little bit more choppy if you're going to try and anticipate the move lower. So I'd much rather wait for that break underneath your 619 hold for that continued push towards the downside. So similar thesis on the ES and NQ, the reclaim of your 622.50. As for the NQ, higher time frames, similar thing to the ES here as well. We're still above your previous all-time highs level. So for the NQ, if you zoom out just a little bit, as you can see right here, we are above your previous all-time highs. Now what we like to see, similar to the ES, is really a hold above your previous all-time highs. If you can maintain above your previous all-time highs, we can see this continue push towards the upside. If we ultimately consolidate, get back underneath, there's a potential that we continue back towards, now it's going to be your 2200 here and below. So for the NQ, now let's go on to the lower time frames. Let me actually refine my key levels here as well. So levels I'm going to have marked out, it's going to be your Fridays, this high that we created. Let me draw this out. So coming into today here for the NQ, key levels that I do have marked out is your 22,900. So this is going to be the key level that we're going to keep an eye out on today. You can see we had multiple touches yesterday and on Friday. Yesterday, once we got underneath this level, you can see we ended up using this as a retest. The NQ was a little bit stronger than the ES yesterday, whereas the ES ended up having this nice push towards the downside. Whereas, okay, why do we, yeah, okay. I love how we have scammers in the chat now. Let me remove this. Yeah, do not go on to that, whatever that was. WhatsApp. I don't have WhatsApp or whatever. Do not click on that message. Let me see if I can ban him as well. Yeah, if you guys can go and report that, that'd be great. All right. Back to the NQ. So NQ coming into today, key levels that we have marked out is going to be your 22,900. If you do want to push back towards the upside, now what we like to see is build these higher lows off your 22,900, potential kind of inverse head and shoulders here for this push back towards the upside. So for the NQ, this is going to be the key level. It's also your Friday's lows here as well. So far, nice reclaim here in the pre-market. Now we just like to see it maintain above our 22,900. Other levels we could have marked out, we can just mark out your previous day highs. If you do want to see upside, right, either the hold of your 22,900 or now it's going to be the break back above your previous day highs for this continued pushback towards the upside. If you go into the QQQ, key levels that we have marked out, at least on the higher time frames, if I actually remove this, couple key levels drawn out for the NQ. We have your 550.50 and we also have your 552.50. So for the QQQ coming into today, now we're able to reclaim back above your Friday's lows, and then you can see multiple touches here as well. What we like to see now for the Qs is a really hold of your 552.50s for this continued push back towards the upside. So this is the higher time frame key level for the Qs. Another scenario is if we can break above your previous day highs, we can see a potential push back up and towards this gap fill here on the higher time frames. So for the Qs and the overall indices yesterday, we did have a gap fill. So we had two gaps in the overall market. If you look at the SPY here, what we had was this gap that we created from last Thursday to Friday towards the upside. And we also had this gap down that we created here over the weekend. So we had two gaps in the market yesterday. We ended up filling this gap towards the downside. Similar with the QQQ here as well. We ended up filling this gap down in towards your 550s. Now what we like to see, since this gap has been filled, now let's see if we can break above your previous day highs, hold, and potentially fill the gap back towards the upside. So that's what we have for the SPY and Qs coming into today. As I mentioned, key level for the Qs, 550, 250s. In your previous day highs, 554s. So those are the levels I have for the major indices coming into market open. As for the overall indices, higher time frame wise, I'm still very much bullish. So I am leaning more towards the upside. I would like to see, as long as the market structure still stays intact, we're above your all-time highs on this, at least the major indices along with the futures. I'd like to see this continue push back towards the highs. All right, let's go on to some tech names that I do have marked out. Number one, what we have here is Tesla. Let me actually just turn on some of my other drawings. So for Tesla coming into today, what we have is a little bit of a gap up here compared to the overall market. So you can see right now, what we have is this big gap down that we created over the weekend. Now we have a very small gap above your previous day highs. What I would like to see now on Tesla is the reclaim really back above. Now it's going to be this 298. So this is the key level here on the higher time frames along with your previous day highs. There's actually quite a few levels here. Let me just refine some of my levels on Tesla. So coming into today, the levels I'm going to have marked out is going to be your previous day highs, 296, and now you can see this your pre-market highs here as well. So coming into today, what I would like to see is the hold of your previous day highs. If you can maintain back above your previous day highs, I would like to see this continue push back up and towards your pre-market highs and potentially your 300 key psych. Another scenario that I would like to see is now above your pre-market highs for this push towards 300 key psych and above, right? We are higher time frame, technically bearish because we had this huge gap down on the overall markets, but so far Tesla is showing relative strength and now we're above your previous day highs. I wouldn't be surprised if we could potentially fill at least not half the gap, sorry, not the full gap, but maybe at least a quarter or half of the gap here, which is back towards your 300 and above. So we'll keep an eye out on Tesla 295 coming into market open today. As for Nvidia, this is one of my favorite watches coming to market open. Higher time frames that I do have is your previous all-time highs level. So if I remove a few levels here on Nvidia, my level that I have is your 158.50. This is your previous all-time highs, the level that we tried holding last Friday. And you can see yesterday as well, a lot of consolidation. And now we have this gap up here in the pre-market. So coming into today here for Nvidia, we have clear shots back up and towards your all-time highs, 160.98. Now, as long as we maintain above your 158.80s, I would like to see this continue push towards the upside. Another scenario, if it wants to have an immediate retest, right, we could also be holding your previous day highs for this push back up and towards your pre-market highs and above being your 160.98. So this is what we have here on Nvidia coming into market open. Other levels, let me actually just mark out this level here as well. So we have your 158.60, which is a major pivot point. And now we're also going to have marked out our 159.28 previous day highs on Nvidia. This is one of my favorite watches, as long as you can maintain above your previous day highs. As for other names in the market, Microsoft, not too much to talk about here. This one is at all-time highs, so we can expect this one to continue back towards the upside. As for Apple, key levels that we have marked out on Apple. Let me actually just remove a few things. Key levels that we have marked out on Apple yesterday was our last week's highs along with our 216.24. So you can see pretty big upper wick here after taking out last week's key point of interest. Now you can see a little bit of a pullback here on Apple, just back down in towards key levels. So this name on the higher time frames, we can actually mark out more levels here as well. what we have in this case is our 21050. So for Apple coming into today, if you do want to see a potential mean reversion on this ticker, we would like to see it reclaim back above your 21050 for this pushback up in towards our 212. If Apple does want to stay heavy underneath your 21050, you could see all the way back down in towards your 20850 here on the higher time frames. Apple, I am still very much interested in this one for continuation towards the upside. I personally would like to see a little bit more consolidation now after a pretty big day yesterday. I just like to see consolidation, and then once it does reclaim your 21050, this is going to set back towards the upside. So that's going to be the key level that we have marked out. As for Meta, consolidation in between our 728 along with our 714. Now what I like to see is really above your 728 for any sort of pushback towards the upside, or it's going to be the bounce off the low of the range 714 here on Meta. As for a few other tickers, Google, the key level that I have marked out is our 181. That's just my key trigger level, at least towards the upside. Currently, we're just right back at your 178, where we've already had multiple touches off of. So for Google, really hold above your 178. You like to see this continue push back up and towards now. It's going to be your previous day highs and above. Not too much to talk about on this name. As for Amazon, so Amazon's still one of my favorite watches, holding up here on the daily chart for continuation. So higher time frame still very much intact. Now what we want to see is a strong candle close above your 225. So we have two levels here on Amazon. We have your 223.50s, which, as you can see, we have multiple touches, and we also have your 225. So coming into this morning here on Amazon, the higher time frame is still very much intact. There's two scenarios I'll be looking for: the dip down in towards your 223.50s for this continued push up and towards your 225, or now it's going to be the break above your 225s for this push up and towards this 227.82. So if I go into the 15-minute chart, levels that I can have marked out, as I mentioned, is going to be this 223.50s. So far, we're having a mini base above your previous high of day. If we can show any sort of strength right off the bat, we could be looking for continuation towards the upside, just based off the higher time frame. So Amazon, one of my favorite looking charts on the higher time frames for continuation. As for AMD, this one bouncing off the lows that we created last week. Now we're having a nice little bounce here in the pre-market here. So key levels for AMD, now we're going to have marked out is your previous day highs. So we have your previous day highs marked out 137.50s, bouncing here with Nvidia. If we can reclaim back above your 137.50s, we can see this continue push back up and towards your 139.50s here on the higher time frame. So coming into this morning, for the overall indices and the market in general, what I would like to see is, right, still continuation back towards the upside. So we have a little bit of a pullback here yesterday with kind of tariffs. Now we're reclaiming the key levels. We're still above your previous all-time highs on the major indices, and we're maintaining above key levels as well. So for the overall indices today, at least on the Qs, as I mentioned, 552, and the reaction that we have off your 554. For SPY, the key level that we're going to have marked out now is going to be the 619 along with your 622.50, which is the area that we broke down from your Friday's lows. Other levels we can have marked out, we're going to mark out this low, which we created on last Wednesday. So this is last Wednesday's key pivot level, 620.50 here on the SPY. As for my top watches coming to today, we're going to keep an eye out on the semiconductors. Nvidia 159.23, your previous day highs for potential continuation back towards the upside. I still like Amazon, a little bit of a slower mover, but higher time frame still very much intact. And then Tesla, potential hold above your previous day highs, 296 on this ticker. So those are my three top watches coming to market open, at least on the tech side. Let me grab some water here. All right. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over now, I will do so. We don't have any red folder news really this week. The only red folder news that we do have, let me pull this up, is FOMC minutes, and that is going to be tomorrow. If I go on to the Forex Factory, as you can see right here, all we have is FOMC minutes at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then we have some unemployment on Thursday. That's going to be at 8:30. So really no red folder news this week. A lot of the news was with tariffs, so that's kind of back. We mentioned, at least Trump mentioned that tariffs are off tariffs are going to start to take into effect on August the 1st, but he didn't say it was 100%. So Trump always, there's a great line, like when he says something's 100%, it's really never 100%. So that's why the markets always are fairly volatile, especially when it comes to tariffs. All right, let me actually, I guess my stream isn't loading, but let me actually go onto this chat. Yeah, if you guys do have any tickers, you guys can drop them in the chat now, and I'll go over them. My chat's not loading, so I guess I can't see the tickers. Let me actually go on my own stream. I guess my stream isn't loading, but let me actually go onto this chat. Okay, let's see this. All right, it's just the regular tickers. All right, let me go over some of the tickers. Someone spamming. Yes, I did. All right, appreciate that. How do you know when choppiness before a move up or move down? What indicates that? Really, it's just context based. So there's time, there's context, higher time frames. Is there news? What's going on in the overall market conditions? Right. If there's something like news yesterday with tariffs, right, most likely it's going to consolidate a little bit more until we have the tariffs. So the markets started to move after 12 p.m., which is when Trump started to speak. All right. Key levels that we have marked out. All right, let's go on to Palantir first. So Palantir is one of my favorite watches actually. So we're bouncing right off of your earnings high all the way back from earlier from May. So higher time frame is very much intact. We're reclaiming key levels, which is now your 136. So your 136 we're able to reclaim yesterday, and now we're continuing back towards the upside. Now for Palantir, if we can reclaim and get back above your previous day highs, we could see this potential mean reversion all the way back up and towards your 146 on the higher time frame. So similar kind of thesis played out not too long ago when we had earnings. You can see this first initial drop towards the downside. We started basing, and then eventually we had this nice push back up and towards your all-time highs. Similar kind of thesis here on Palantir once again with this drop, right? We had this drop, now we're consolidating, reclaiming back above key levels. So now as long as you maintain above your 136, what we like to see is continue push back towards the upside. So for Palantir, coming into today, key levels that I have marked out is going to be your previous day highs in this 136 here on the higher time frame. So I have your 139 marked out along with your 136. What I personally would like to see is the break above your 139 for this continued push towards the upside. Another scenario that we do have is the retest off your 136. You could be looking for the higher low off this level here as well. So Palantir, it looks good above your 139. As for HIMS, this one, higher time frame, still very much intact. What you would like to see now after this flush here yesterday is the break and reclaim back above your 49 key psych. So you can see yesterday showed some weakness, but the daily candle closed strong. Now what we like to see reclaim back above your 49 for this continued push back towards the upside. As for some other names, let me go on some. Yeah, reminds me of the Discord scammers when those scammers are the worst. They're everywhere, especially Discord, Twitter, all the platforms are crazy. All right, let me go over Oracle. Oracle, similar thing here as well. So Oracle, nice retest off our key, really 231 yesterday. So now you can see this one's still very much intact for continuation towards the upside. Now we're breaking back above your previous day high. So we have your 231 which is your Wednesday's highs from last week that you can see retested here last Thursday. Another hold on its previous day, which was yesterday here as well, 231. Now, if you can hold above your previous day highs, 235, we can see this continue push up and towards your 237. So we'll keep an eye out on Oracle here today for the hold of your 235 previous day highs for continuation up and towards your 237. We might as well go over Circle here as well. So for Circle, nice reclaim. Once we're able to reclaim back above your 190, this one had nice continuation up and towards your 207.50 here on the higher time frame. So Circle, very nice reclaim, break and retest, now right up and towards your 208. As for a few other tickers that we can go over, let's go over Coin. As for Coin, higher time frames is still intact here as well. So for Coin, if you look at this daily chart with Bitcoin kind of theme coming up here as well. So for Coin, key levels that we have marked out is this higher time frame, right, 358, and we also have kind of this wedge pattern forming here on the higher time frame as well. So for Coin, now that we're breaking above this 358, what I would like to see is the hold above your 358 for any sort of continue push back up and towards your previous day highs here and above, which is going to be this 364. So that's the level that we have on Coin, which is going to be your Thursdays and Wednesdays highs that we like to see hold if you want to see any sort of continuation back towards the upside. As for SoFi, yeah, this one is now ripping higher time frame breakout. This reminds me quite a bit like Hood, at least on the higher time frame wise. It's a little bit of the earlier stages that we do have, but really for SoFi, if we can get this strong candle closure on the weekly time frame, breaking out nicely, you can see kind of the same formation here. Next levels for SoFi, I wouldn't be surprised if we can get that continuation up and towards even your 24, right? We have a couple key levels. We have your 20, kind of 24 marked out, and then your 28. So for SoFi, key levels, at least on the weekly time frame. Next level that we do have is going to be your 2060 here on SoFi. At least on the daily chart, you can see we're starting to break out here, higher time frames. A little bit of reaction, which was expected last week off of your key 1850. Now that we're above it, as long as we maintain above your 1850, we can expect continuation higher. So far, we are gapping up here with continuation. Now your levels that you're going to have marked out previous day highs, which is going to be your 1920s. As long as you maintain above your previous day highs, we like to see this continue push up and towards your 2060 here on SoFi. Let me go on IWM. But due to location issue, I can't. I really need your guidance. I trade your strategy and learned a lot from you, but due to location issue, can't join your Discord. So what's the best possible way to connect? You can send me a potential message. I wouldn't say on Discord. Maybe you can email it to me if you have any questions. All right, let me go on to IWM. So IWM key levels that we have is your 220.50, at least on the higher time frame. So a little bit of a pullback here, still above key levels 217 and 218. Now what we like to see here on IWM is the reclaim and hold for this continued push up and towards your 222 and above now, which is going to be this 223 here on the higher time frame. So IWM hold above this 220.50. Okay, let me scroll down here as well. Yeah, I have to go on my phone since my desktop isn't loading. All right, let's go over a couple more. What time is it? 8:30. So we have about 10 minutes here. We'll go over a few more tickers. Let's go over Hood. So Hood on the higher time frames, pulling back here just after hitting your 100 key psych level. But now for Hood, key level is your 95. So this is the level it's going to have to close above on the higher time frames if we want to see any sort of potential continuation back towards the upside. At least currently consolidation is expected after having such a big move here. But now key levels, as I mentioned, 95. You can also mark out your previous day highs here as well. So for Hood, I personally like to see a break above your 94.50 along with your previous day highs 95.80 for any sort of continued pushback towards the upside. As for Walmart, this one looks good for continuation back up and towards your all-time highs. What we like to see now is the break above your 100 key psych. We also do have this daily gap. So this daily gap that we created all the way back from earlier this year from February. For me, Walmart looks good if you can break above now, hold above your 100 key psych for this push back up and towards your 103 and your all-time high. So this is the level I have marked out on Walmart. So far, you can see we're just consolidating in between your earnings high and this earnings low. So once we're able to finally break above and hold above your earnings high, 100 key psych, I'd like to see this continuation back up and towards your all-time highs. As for OKLO, this one bouncing off key levels here as well with a lot of consolidation. So now for this ticker, starting to push back towards the upside. Now you like to see these higher lows be built. So previous day highs is going to be key. What you'd like to see now is it maintain above your previous day highs, which is going to be this 56 key psych level if you want to see any sort of continuation back towards the upside. So this is going to be key. As you can see, previous day highs hold for this continuation back up in towards your 5750s here and above. As for BBAI, so far you can see first step getting bought up, higher time frames, perfect level, and really perfect retest right off your 720. Now what you like to see break above your 780 for this continued push back towards the highs here as well. Let me go over gold. As for gold, you can just see a lot of consolidation here on the higher time frames, still building up these higher lows. But what we would like to see now really is kind of this wedge pattern form. So you can see these higher lows are being built, lower highs as well, just taking out liquidity of both sides here. So I do expect a little bit more consolidation until we're able to fully break either side and break structure to either the downside or have another break of structure back towards the highs. So key levels that we do have marked out, at least on the 1 hour chart, these levels have been playing out nicely, which is our 3347. And then we also have your 3300. And you can see all the touches we've had off these key levels here on gold. This one's just currently ranging. So if you're able to trade this on the lower time frames, there's been quite a few nice entries that you could have been looking for. All right, let me scroll down here. Is today the day for discount with TradingView? TradingView, I think, had a discount on July the 4th. So it had a July the 4th sale. That's like the second best sale besides Black Friday. So I would either go for that sale or wait for that Black Friday sale. Do you have to change the way you trade? Much respect. Do you trade 0 days? You have changed the way I trade much. Do you trade 0 days? I'll only trade 0 days once a week, not normally, just because trading 0 days is a lot different than actually trading the regular weeklies because they're a lot more volatile and sometimes they don't follow along with the actual underlying itself. Okay, I'll go over a couple more tickers here and then I will go over my game plan and then get ready for market open. As for AVGO, I do like this one here as well. So I'm going to mark out your all-time highs as an alert level. But for AVGO, key levels that we have is your all-time highs along with your previous day highs that we can have marked out. So this is a very key level here for AVGO. 277.50s. You can see yesterday, nice kind of push up and towards your all-time highs. We never quite got above your all-time highs, so this is the level that we like to see now above for continuation towards the upside. AVGO going to present a nice opportunity, in my opinion, above your 277.50 here on the higher time frames. So just mark that out as alert, 277.50s. As for CRWV, not too much to talk about on this one. I do have a lot of levels marked out, but CRWV, at least on the higher time frames, the level that we have to reclaim is going to be this 165. So your 165, currently we're not able to get above that level. Currently, you can see a lot of liquidity being built up. So I'd like to see break above your 165 for this continuation back towards the highs. As for Shopify, key levels that we have marked out, you can see nice base above your 100 key psych. And we're starting to continue back towards the upside. Now the key levels that we have marked out is going to be this 117 and is this your alt? No, I didn't think it was your all-time highs. For Shopify, key levels is now going to be this 130. So you have a few key levels marked out, 117, and then you also have your 130 here on the higher time frames. So if you can break above your 117 and hold, this one's looking really good here on the higher time frames. I do like Shopify a lot. If we can now break above your 117 hold for this continued push, really back up and towards, let's go into the daily chart. Next levels is going to be your 120 and then this 129 here on the higher time frame. So keep an eye out on Shopify coming into today. Let me actually set this as an alert here as well. We can keep an eye out on this name. For NQ, where can I get your email? It's just going to be Jack. Let me type it in the chat. Okay. Let me go into the NQ. Let me go over my game plan and then I'm going to get ready for market open. Do you have any tips on how to avoid consolidation? Even though I enter on the retest with a strong price action using break and retest, always seems like a consolidation. So that's a good question. So a lot of times if you're trading the major indices, what you have to understand is context and higher time frames. That's going to matter a lot because you can have a perfect break and retest on the lower time frames and it still fail. Or you can have a nice higher time frame setup and the break and retest might be decent. It might not be a textbook break and retest, but those it might not be a textbook break and retest, but those end up running very nicely because of the higher time frame context and the momentum. So what matters more is the context on the higher time frames, or what's happening on the higher time frames. Plus, is there any sort of news that we have or any sort of catalyst that can push price towards the upside? That's why we do these pre-market preps, is to build logic and kind of the thesis and what we're looking for, especially if there's any sort of higher time frame setups or there's any news in the markets. Let me go over NQ higher time frames. As I mentioned, key level we're just gonna have marked out is this 22,900. So 22,900 is a level I'd like to see hold on the NQ, kind of build these higher lows here as well if we're gonna continue back towards the upside. So for NQ, I personally would like to see this level hold. There's not really a reason for it to come all the way back towards the downside if we want to remain bullish. So 22,900 is going to be the key level coming into today, at least on the higher time frames. It can wick underneath, but I'd like to see this higher low be built based off of yesterday's price action. For the QQQ, similar thesis, right? It can come down potentially to your previous day close and bounce off that level, but I don't want to see it underneath your previous day close, hold underneath this 552 and stay heavy for this pushback down in towards that 550. Webull, yeah, Webull's good for that. Do you have a tutorial? Not as of yet. Was yesterday 0 day? No. 0 days is only if you trade SPY and Qs every single day. 120K, appreciate that. All right. Let me go on to the overall game plan of at least my game plan coming to market open, and then I'm going to get ready for the markets. So coming into today, as I mentioned, key levels that we have marked out is going to be this 60 to 60 here on this ES, and then the reclaim level is going to be your your Thursday's lows, and then we also have multiple touches here as well. So for the ES, a little bit weaker than the Qs. What I would like to see reclaim back above, now it's going to be this 60 to 90 here. That's going to be key for the ES. As for SPY, the level we like to see reclaim, for me personally, is going to be back above your 622.50s. I like to see a reclaim back above this level for continuation. Currently, we are inside of the range. So we're right in between the middle of the range. I do expect a little bit more consolidation. We don't have any gap fills here as well. So at least for the first 15 to 30 minutes, we'll just wait for that to play out here on the SPY since we're right inside the middle of the range. As for the Qs, a little bit stronger than the SPY here. Key level for me is going to be this 552.50. As for my top watches, it's going to be number one, no in particular order, but I like Nvidia above your previous day highs 159.20s or a potential retest all the way back down in towards your 158. Regardless, Nvidia on the higher time frame looks good for a potential move back up in towards your all-time highs 160.98. As for Amazon, I still like this one here on the higher time frames as well. Daily time frame is shaping up very nicely. If we can now break above your 225, that's going to be the trigger level for continuation back towards the upside. We also do have Tesla here. Tesla looks good if we can now hold above your previous day highs, which is this 296. Another possible scenario, break above your pre-market highs, 299 for this continuation back towards the upside here as well. For some other tickers that I do like, AVGO, if you can get above your 277. Oracle looks good above your previous day high here, 235. This one is setting up fairly nicely. So a lot of the semiconductors shaping up. So Oracle, hold above your 235 for a push up and towards your all-time highs, 237. And as I mentioned for AVGO, it's going to be now the break above your all-time highs, 277. Other names that are showing a lot of relative strength, SoFi, next level is 260, and then Shopify also showing a very nice higher time frame pattern here as well, above your 117 and potential hold. We can see this continue push back towards the highs. Okay. So yeah, that is going to be it for me. I love how I have to go on my phone, but yeah, that's going to be it for me today. As always, if you guys did enjoy that, I appreciate if you guys drop me a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free watch list, that one's in the description below. Also, I'm always posting my game plan now on on X. I keep calling it Twitter, but if you guys haven't followed me on X, you guys can do so. I'm going to post my game plan, or I'm going to post a lot more on X now. Awesome. All right, I'm going to get ready for market open, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the day.